Week 4, we start a new module, Module 3, Measurement. In Chapter 10, we first determine what is to be measured to address a research question. Then we are going to learn 4 levels of scale measurement. Scale reliability and validity will be discussed. Attitude measures and scaling will be addressed in this chapter too. What is this? This is a measuring tape. We can use this flexible ruler to measure size. So say my waist size is 47 inches. 47 is a measurement, and inches are scales. Here's the definition of a measurement. Measurement is the process of describing some property of a phenomenon of interest. 47 inches of waist. So 47, usually by assigning numbers in a systematic way that aims to be reliable and valid. Scales provide a range of values that correspond to different characteristics or amounts of characteristics. In a marketing research, what needs to be measured? In a marketing research, the research questions are interrogative statements about changes, patterns, or relationship among the concepts relevant to the decision problem. Thus, the researcher must measure these concepts to address the research question. For example, consumers who perceive a lower online shopping risk will purchase more products in the future from the internet than those who perceive that internet shopping poses greater risk. This is an example of a research question. In this research question, it shows a relationship between two concepts. Which two? One concept is perceived risk, and the other concept is internet shopping. So, concepts are generalized ideas that represent something of meaning. Some concepts are concrete, for example, age or height. Some are abstract and are more difficult to define and measure. For example, brand loyalty or customer satisfaction. Compare with gender, compare with age or height. Brand loyalty and customer satisfaction is more kind of abstract to define and measure in a research. Each concept measured requires a conceptual definition and operational definition. Operational definitions translate conceptual definitions into measurement scales. For example, before measuring perceived risk of internet shopping, I have to define perceived risk of internet shopping. In my research, the perceived risk is operationally defined as possibility of loss times importance of loss. In this example, I use a 7-point scale devices to measure the possibility of loss. The correspondence rule is assigning number 1 through 7 according to how likely is it that an internet purchase will cause privacy loss, because your shopping habits and purchasing behavior are tracked by internet retailers. To measure the importance of loss, researchers again employ a 7-point scale to assess a privacy loss. Usually in an academic descriptive research or quantitative research, hypotheses will be developed and be derived from research questions. Hypotheses often state that one concept is related to another, or state that differences in some outcome concept will be observed across different levels of some categorical variable. Here is one example of a hypothesis. Higher consumer trust in an internet store will reduce the perceived risk of shopping through that store. This hypothesis implies a relationship between two variables. Which two? One is consumer trust, and the other is perceived risk. Sometimes a single variable cannot capture a concept alone. Using multiple variables to measure one concept often provides a more complete account of some concept than could any single variable. So a construct is a term used for latent concepts measured using multiple variables. For example, a shopper's perceived risk of internet shopping is not a single variable concept, but is inferred by using 4 indicators, such as financial risk, product performance risk, time convenience risk, and privacy security risk. Next, I'm going to discuss 4 levels of scale measurement. Each level is associated with increasingly more complex properties. Nominal scales assign number or letters to objects for identification or classification purpose. No numerical differences between those categories. Examples are uniform numbers, school bus numbers, female or male. Nominal scales do not represent quantities. Ordinal scales arrange objects based on relative magnitude of a concept. Thus, ordinal scales represent rankings. Here are the examples. To rank order the brand names based on preference, or to indicate your level of education. Internal scales also represent an ordering based on relative amounts of a concept, but they do also capture the differences between scale values. Examples of internal scales are credit scores and performance rating on a 1 to 100 scale. The distance between values is meaningful. Ratio scales are absolute scales, starting with absolute zeros at which there is a total absence of the attribute. This is the only scale that allows you to make racial comparisons, such as Mary's income is 30% more than Susan's. Examples are amount of money in your checking account, number of questions correct on a quiz, distance from Dublin to Auckland. Next, we are going to discuss reliability and validity. Reliability and validity are characteristics associated with good measurement. Reliability is about the consistency of a measure. Validity is about the accuracy of a measure. Internal consistency is necessary for good reliability and is assessed most often using coefficient alpha. The other method can use to measure reliabilities are split half method and test-retest reliability. Coefficient alpha should be at least 0.6 for a scale to be considered as acceptably reliable. Validity is assessed in components. A construct measure that exhibits adequate construct validity is one that is likely well measured. Construct validity consists of phase or content validity, convergent validity, discriminant validity, criterion validity, and fit validity. Multivariate statistical procedures like factor analysis can be helpful in providing evidence of construct validity.